So moving on to public recognition. Does anybody have anything to recognize?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. No public recognition. Employee recognition, number 5.
No, sir.
Okay, nothing there. And oh, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to thank Public Works for working so good. I know it seemed like the other day they were out there forever, which it was. It was a good 10-hour job, or more. But I'd like to thank Public Works for all the help and getting that done and all the hours they put in.
Very well said. I echo those sentiments for sure. They were working right down the line on business yesterday about the late water break in the afternoon. So, okay. Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 6, presentation for animal control. I've been notified that they have to table this. Somebody was not able to make it tonight, so that takes care of that. Okay. Agenda item number 7, consider approval of council minutes, special council meeting minutes from February 6, 2024, regular council meeting minutes from February 20th, 2024, and special meeting minutes from March 4th, 2024. Any concerns and corrections?
I've sent my request to Dora for March 4th.
I think she sent it out.
I think they went out this afternoon with the corrections.
That's the only ones I found.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for March 4th, oh gosh, I don't have the agenda in front of me. Which one was it? March 4th, all the ones on the agenda. We accepted.
I got you. All right, we have a motion from Debbie to accept the minutes from, I'll give it for you, Debbie, February 6th, February 20th, and March 4th.
Great, thanks.
I'll second.
We have a second from Michael. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. At this time, I would like to ask council to consider moving agenda items 16 and 17 to the present. Our fire chief also has a ESD meeting this evening at 7 o'clock, and so we would like to be able to make those meetings, and if we move it up, he should be able to do so.
Make a motion to move agenda items 16 and 17 to position of between 7 and 8.
Okay, we have a motion from Josh, move 16 and 17 to between 7 and 8. Clifford, second. All in favor? The ayes have it, unanimous. Motion approved. Okay. Greg, let me get you ready up here, and then we'll get you going. Okay. Agenda item number 16. Consider and act upon approving the fee schedule for code compliance and the fire departments. City administrator and fire chief.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we met with the fire chief and we modified our schedule just a little bit to reflect the city fee and the, bureau, the city fee, the bureau cost fee, as well as the fire fee. What we have attempted to do on this last fee schedule is to divide those 3 out to where it's a little bit more explainable, better, easier to understand.
I hate to kick this back again, but Debbie hit it when she sent out that email. It still says 30% at the bottom, which adds the things to it.
Take that off.
I don't know if you did.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what is the item because I only have one. I'm going to have the one you sent out. I made a few edits because it had strict pricing, and the fire department is on 35 cents per square foot.
Oh, I didn't even, I missed that.
Well, I'm not trying to dispute it. If we can approve it as amended, removing the 30% from the bottom with the sheet that Debbie sent out and changing out their fees for 35 cents per square foot instead of the fixed prices, I think we can approve it and try and count this.
Go ahead, sorry.
Wow, sir.
I'm boom. So again, the city fees, that's absolutely, if you're gonna, the only thing I saw with Ms. Randall's was that you tried to do the 30% off of a thing, right? And then you tried to give them their set fees. If you're going to do that, the city really needs to have a set fee. Like if you get a permit, it's $100.
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, I got that. But there was still some, like, it was based off of the math still. So each permit was still a different fee. The only reason I say that is because it still looks like it's 30%. And people are going to be like, well, why is this fee this price? And why is this fee this price? And all of that. This is y'all's business. I don't really care one way or another. But I agree with you. The 30% is kind of crazy. But if you're going to do a flat fee, you need to agree on a flat fee and just set it as this is the fee.
I thought we had discussed that at a previous meeting, and it was to be added on to the fee schedule, the 30% for less confusion.
That's why I did what I
It's
did.
supposed to be a static number and not a
Right.
sliding scale.
So I still think you can act on this.
Correct.
Okay, as far as approving it. Okay, as long as we go back and change those to reflect approximately 30% on a static number like Josh said. Am I right, Tom? We can still act on it. Okay, so rather than kick it down the road, we can't act on it.
Okay. Okay, so what are you specifically referencing in the document she sent out that is different? Because I do see there's a whole column of static fees for the city.
So the static fees were still based on the 30%, correct? It was still, you
Yes.
took one of the fees, one of the two, because that's part of the problem, is the fees aren't the same.
Right.
That's kind of the whole point of this process. So you took one of the fees, based the 30% off of what, my only suggestion is just make the fee cost the fee cost. So it doesn't matter what they're doing from the city, the fee cost is $100 or it's $50.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think that's...
Isn't that what that is?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well then maybe I was looking at the wrong document. If that's what it is,
No,
it's
I
very
didn't.
possible. There's so many documents floating
I
at this
know, and I
point.
didn't send it to you. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I just sent it to council.
That's fine.
Okay, so I'll make, with the edits of the VFD inspection fee for the first 3 rows being the square footage, make those instead of 525, 3,500, and 3,500, 35 cents, make them all 35 cents per square foot. Just those 3 cells in that document. I can
Josh,
show you
which one
that.
are you going off of?
The one Debbie sent out.
The one Debbie? Okay.
Yep. So the document Debbie sent out, all the fees match up great, except the top ones there just need to be 35 cents per square foot for the volunteer fire department on new building inspections, new residential inspections.
Well, that's going to change from time to time, depending on the size of the building, so that makes sense.
Well, they said, no, they're across the board 35 cents.
Our 35 cents doesn't change.
No, but
That was just giving an example.
Right.
That's all we put on there, was an example.
And then we would,
It's still the 35 cents.
I think we'd have to remove from the left side then, because it's, you
Well,
essentially have
actually,
conflicting information.
if it's 1,500 on the very first one, if it's 1,500, that's what it would be. See, what we were looking at was trying to make it so a client or a customer or a resident, whoever comes in and could see, okay, it's gonna cost me this much money, without going, now I gotta add this, and then I gotta times it by 30%, and then I got, so if it says 35 cents a square foot, yes, they can do their own math on that, or code compliance will, or whoever is helping them in the office. But our fee should be, like you said, static.
Yes.
And then, no matter how big the silly house is, or building, or whatever.
I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah, so that's
I'm good.
why I put what I put on my copy, and then, should in the city, we also change it to whatever the square footage is, then instead of making make it look like a static fee? I mean, not on the city, on the BV,
Well, BV is, yeah, that's,
because I think they're also got a square footage amount. I guess I should have asked that before I did.
I don't remember how much I guess okay, they do change it. I thought they charge more for over 10,000 square feet.
They do.
Yeah, okay, I don't remember what the old numbers were.
I still have them here if you'd like.
Let me change my pencil over my Google Docs here so I can write them down. Okay,
Oh,
what do
well,
we
I
have for
probably
the,
have it here.
minimum?
We probably have it in the thingy.
For 0 to 59 square feet?
It is $785, and then anything over that is increased by 25 cents.
So
Per
785
square foot?
plus,
785, and then it's 25 cents per square foot over that square footage. That's how theirs changes.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, that one's gonna be, maybe we should leave that column alone.
And that was, you kept asking for a clarified and streamlined pricing list. The problem is trying to match them up. I can't match them up without diluting it because theirs is already diluted.
But I understood yours, and it went on the form very easily.
there.
I just took what was given to us in the packet, and I pretty much just copied it, so it would all be on one page and very easy to see. That's all I was trying to do, is, because the second page said the same thing, only backwards, and I was very confused. So as you can tell by what time I sent it to you all, I stayed up a little bit, played with it. But,
Hey, do I just pass my phone around to convey the idea here? So we're not trying to explain.
do y'all have my email still? Yes, 35 cents per square foot, and leave these all whatever.
We'll do, that way there's a.
Oh, plus, oh, I see what you're doing. I can fix that.
Do you like that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can fix that.
So for the Bureau Veritas column, putting the 785 for the first one, then 785 plus 25 cents per square foot, and then the next two. And for yours, it'll just be 35 cents per square foot. That way there's never any question from anybody, how much does this cost?
Simple.
And then there's a column for city permit fees. This is how much we charge no matter what. One day we'll have a projector center.
Okay.
Bluetooth it over.
okay.
So is it gonna be by percentage, or is it just gonna be a base
Base fee,
fee?
yes.
So
what is
what he
the
wrote on his phone there, I can fix it. I'll send you the, I put it
I can share the document with you
I put
guys.
it on an Excel spreadsheet. I can just send it to you.
I can save it and send it over.
I'd ask council to go ahead and approve it with the modifications.
That's what I want to do. I want to make sure you guys got a chance to see it. The wrong direction.
I can fix it
I
tonight.
can send it, guys. Just want to show it to Mike and Flipper. I'll send the document over.
We're good, go ahead.
Okay. I'll make a motion. We approve the fee schedule with the amendments.
Mine's what I did. Right?
Yes, the combination amendments.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion from Josh to amend the fee schedule as noted for the code compliance and fire department.
I'll second it.
We have a second from Debbie. Further discussion? Everybody understand it well?
I think the staff has some questions.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
We, Denise and I have, on what it says, like a variance, I know that the fire department has a fee, but that's like done in-house, because that has to go through planning and zoning. So we were kind of confused on, how is that gonna work?
So
Bureau Veritas.
they're gonna pay the
Because
fire
Bureau
department?
Veritas doesn't do that.
Yeah, I'm asking the chief. So if someone needs a variance right now, today, they go to the city hall and they give them $50 for the variance. If they go to planning and zoning, then they have to come here.
There's no
Are
inspection.
you asking for $50 also on that?
So I'm going to tell you that we were trying to make it as simple as possible and match anything your BB did. So
Okay.
if they do not do that, neither will we.
Okay.
That's why I
We're
left it
trying
on
to
blank.
streamline this and make this as easy as possible.
Okay, good, because the next question was solicitors, because they have to give us their driver's license, we have to do a check with the police department.
Right.
Okay, would have anything to do with
That's
that.
why I left the 2 columns for BB and VFD blank on those 4, I think it was.
Yeah.
So,
He just made, that makes sense, Bureau Veritas.
okay.
If they don't do it, we won't either.
Okay,
Okay.
cool, so I can leave that
That makes
alone.
sense.
I'll fix it.
Okay, so the motion still remains
Yes.
and a second, all right? Anything further? All right, all in favor? Ayes have it, unanimous. Motion carries. All right, agenda item 17. Consider and act upon amending Chapter 46 of the Code of Ordinance, Fire Prevention and Protection, Sections 46-1 and 46-2, to allow burning inside the city limits with requirements. David, correct? I think David up first.
Go ahead, Chief.
Okay.
Okay.
So we had discussed the, last council that I was here, we had discussed the fact that the way the ordinance read right now, burning in the city was pretty much just non-existent, not allowed. And I think that we have some, you're not going to have very many fire chiefs say, no, let's allow burning. But I think there's some common sense here that can be allotted to make sure that if somebody has the proper area, the proper inspections, the proper tools handy, that they can in fact do some burning. And so this ordinance is combined of multiple things that we've searched around the state of Texas that are already working. These are highly suggestions. I mean, by all means, if you want to take something out, take something out. You want to add something to, let's talk about it. But this is basically what is in effect in multiple cities across the state of Texas. And so I'm not going to go line by line for you. There's a couple things I want to point out. Again, the no burning after night, that is statewide. Whether you're in the county, city, whatever, once the sun goes down, you're supposed to stop burning, with the exception of if it's absolutely needed for heat or food or something of that nature. That's a state requirement. No open burning of household garbage. Burning in the city, any type of household garbage is not a good idea outside of the container because it can turn to ash real quick and blow, and it can still blow it up to 500 degrees. And so you can start a fire in a different area. For those of you that were around for the transportation fire, that's one of the things that happened there that ended up catching 2 houses. And that person was burning in a barrel. Wasn't even anything they were doing wrong, but that's how quickly something can change. So in an open area, that can be extremely dangerous. Small piles that are 2x3 don't even need an inspection. If it's 2x3 and it's off the property line and all that stuff, that should be good to go. Anything bigger than that's going to require an inspection. All burns must be no closer than 20 foot. That goes back to the 2x3. We like the 2x3 piles at least to be off the property lines by at least 20 foot. If the pile is bigger than that, it needs to be further away than the property line. And one of the things that myself and Alderman Ritchie just got done talking about before we got started is none of this pertains to anything in the barrel or enclosed. If it's in the barrel or enclosed, you're allowed to do it. Your grills, your fire pits, any of that thing. You're more than capable of doing that. And the only thing we ask is just make sure you have a fire extinguisher or a water source or something close in case something happens. But I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Are we, burn barrel concerned me under a fire ban? Because that's when it's super dry. Is this, I see you reserve the right to revoke there.
So under burn bans, so these, in the state of Texas, burning outside is already illegal. If you go to TECQ, they will show you that in the state of Texas, you cannot burn outside. To burn outside, you have to have an exception. These are those exceptions. They would go away in the case of a burn ban. In a burn ban, burning is off. It's that simple.
So is someone turning on their grill during a burn ban?
So you're right. There are exceptions to that, and that's one of those. Is that for food purposes, you can still burn in your grill. You can still have a fire pit. You can even technically burn in a burn barrel if it is screened and covered. That's what the state law is. So we can amend that however you would like, but that's the way I left it in here.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
The one concern that came across to me was, number one, I feel like that there are certain areas in town that ought to be allowed to burn because they have 12 acres, 30 acres,
Sure.
whatever, and they're still in city limits. The 2x3 pile is concerning to me because, a good example is subdivisions with house after house after house after house. And then the other thing that concerned me, and once again, I don't mean to object, but I'm wondering if somebody, well, let me preface this a little bit.
Sure.
Not too long ago, 2 houses down from me, in the backyard, I had a neighbor that actually took somebody's brush, okay? Right now I live on a house-lined street, okay? Behind our houses is a considerable amount of grass that's 2 or 3 foot tall, completely dried out, okay? And he was burning back there 2 houses down, right? And it was going to be substantial, and we called it in, and they came out and they took care of it. But if you have people burning, the thing I was wondering about is other people might assume it's okay to burn, and therefore they may not be aware of the 2 foot by 3 foot, deal and all that. They might just start burning too, regardless of where they live. So that's a concern to me. I don't know how you would approach it.
I understand that concern, Mr. Mayor, I really do, but the reality is, you already have that. You already have people that, I mean, if they're not gonna follow the rules, they're not gonna follow the rules.
Okay.
I mean, that's the bottom line. You already have people that are burning in the city.
That's true.
You already have, and
Yeah.
because they don't know any better.
You asked it down to me, I think he knew better.
And that's just it. So if people are going to follow the rules, they're going to follow the rules. If they're not, they're not. If you don't like the 2x3 rule, by all means, you can modify that or change it. But again, these are what other cities in Texas are already doing. 2x3, let's think about that.
That's very small.
That's very small. We're talking 2 squares by 3 squares, and it's got to be 20 foot away from any property line or any structure. Could it get out of control? Absolutely. But very highly unlikely, right? As long as you have other things there. But if you want to modify it, by all means, modify it.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
I was just kind of putting it out there.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't,
And you have a valid point. When people see other people burning, they go, oh, well, we must be able to do that. But because of the way city Devine is now, if somebody's burning down in the county, you can see it, and they're like, oh, I can burn, and they go ahead and do it.
Gotcha. I trust your judgment.
How long does a permit last for?
Good question. When we write a permit, this is what we do in the county. We can modify it for the city however you'd like, but we write it specifically for a specific time and day. So, in other words, if somebody says, hey, I'm going to burn on Friday, we say, okay, we're going to come out and we'll do the inspection on Thursday, and then we'll write the permit for Friday, and we usually write it for about 8 a.m. to, depending on the time of year it is, but 5 or 6 p.m., so it's an hour, at least an hour before sundown, okay, which means they have to have it out by the time that permit expires. We will, on occasion, out in the county, I wouldn't suggest this necessarily for the city, but we will, on occasion, write a 2 or 3 day permit. If, like, say, a rancher is going to be doing multiple burns or whatever, instead of us having to come out each day and rewrite a new permit, we'll write one permit. But in that permit, we have specific instructions that say, must stop burning each night by sundown. Can't start burning the next day until sunrise. So even when we extend a couple days of burning for somebody who's clearing land, we still have very specific language that is in there. And we turn all of those into the sheriff's department. We can do the same thing in the city. We can have very specific language within the burn permit and tell them exactly what they must and must not do. And we can set the parameters of the day and time. A lot of that is based on weather. For instance, yesterday, we didn't allow anybody to burn in the county yesterday because it was too windy. If you drove out in the county today, you saw a bunch of black smoke. The weather changed, there's less wind, they were allowed to burn. We can do the same thing.
And how many permits are they allowed per year? How many times can they get this permit? Any?
That's y'all. I mean,
Okay.
that doesn't really matter to us as far as, because again, each permit is so specific. So if they get a permit on Friday this week and Thursday next week and Saturday the week after that, every time they do it.
There's not a cost on this permit?
I'm sorry?
Is there a cost on this permit?
That would be the council's decision. There would be a fee on there. I didn't set one. All I did was set the language of the terms.
So at this juncture, the fee would be up to you because it might
Correct.
be easy, it might be okay.
And wouldn't they go to the fire department anyway? They're not gonna call City Hall, would they?
Well,
They
if
can
you
come
put
to
a
us.
permit
I
on
mean-
it, if you put a cost on it, they're gonna have to.
But that would be up to them.
Again, there isn't a standing ordinance for this, so you guys can build it however you'd like. That's kind of the point. So if you want them to come to us and us set the fee, we can absolutely do that. That's easy enough, not hard.
Yeah, I mean, the objective of this is to make a safe pathway for folks to have fires.
Correct.
Not just to undermine anything.
Correct.
Yeah, but we already have a process where they come and pick up brush 4 times a year, so what's the use of having a big, little small fire when you're gonna cut half a tree or something like that, just to burn the brush?
Well, my argument to that, sir, would be, what if I rake up a 2x3 pile of leaves? You want me to wait until they come and pick it up, or can I just burn it real quick?
I wouldn't rake it in until they come and pick it up. Not I'd take it down to county, the same thing. I mean, why create so much smoke or something like that in the city?
Fair enough.
Currently, we can't have a grill, so we do need an ordinance regardless.
I get that. I don't have a problem, well, I do have a problem with the barrel because of transportation fire. The guy was doing it the right way and it got out of hand.
Yes, ma'am.
But I understand we need to say a grill and enclosed blah, blah, blah. I got that. I am concerned with the 2x3, giving them even that much to burn. Only because I had a neighbor in the middle of, a windstorm, went out there and put like a 10-foot pile of crap and started burning it.
Well, we can make it real simple to where if you want to burn and have an open burn, you have to have it inspected. And we can make that real simple.
I would feel more comfortable
that.
knowing you know it's being
Sure,
done.
absolutely.
I mean, a grill, let's put that in the ordinance, please, that we can legally all cook our steaks.
So we can separate a burn barrel from other contained fires. I'm thinking, I just have a little propane, it's essentially a fire pit with propane, so that would be contained. Not the same as a burn barrel where you have a neighbor who burns with a burn barrel and yes, you do see ash flying through the air.
Right.
So I understand.
We can
You want to
say
separate
that.
those out. Are you proposing?
I will tell you statistically, we have far more stove fires in the kitchen than we do burn barrel fires. Statistically. I'm just telling, I mean, I get the fear and I get the understanding, I definitely get transportation, but
Burn ban too, though.
realistically, it is far less likely that somebody is going to cause a major fire out of a burn barrel versus your own home stove.
Then I just want to strike the 2x3, like giving them any ground burning unless they get a permit.
But you just mentioned, they're gonna break rules regardless.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So,
But we can write into it that there's a
but
penalty.
Yeah.
he ain't gonna be there watching that fire all the time when it burns. So when he takes off after that fire's lit, that barrel's lit, they can go inside and get their trash and just throw it in there. Call the city the following week, hey, go ahead and cancel my garbage service. I don't need it no more. I'm gonna burn my trash here.
But if it's in writing, they can be penalized for that. I mean, bottom line. I mean, you're right. They're still, if somebody's gonna break rules, they're still gonna break rules. But if you don't have something in writing, then what are we enforcing? You know what I mean?
Just so I understand, you're wanting to take out the 2x3 piles and only have barrels? Or,
No,
Yeah,
she's
I don't
wanting
even
everything
know.
inspected.
But yes, I would negotiate that because I'm afraid that they're gonna do more than 2x3 because we all know they will. And if they go and get a permit, then at least the fire department is instructing them how to do it in some fashion. And if they don't get a permit, then there's gonna be a penalty, which we have to write into the ordinance.
I mean, the objective here, no one's stupid. We're not going to treat people like they're stupid, but it is to make sure that they're being safe about it. So, hey, keep within these guidelines. If you don't, and you do get stupid with it, okay, now we can very clearly come down on you with, hey, you're going to burn down freaking houses. So if you want to meet in the middle, get rid of the 2x3 and institute the burn barrel there, I'll meet you in the middle.
I'm good with that. I mean, and the other thing we have to remember, we got a lot of oak trees in town. Well, we have a lot of trees in town, but a lot of those roots are close to the ground. You can start a ground fire if those roots catch on smoldering. So, and you don't know it's burning for a while. So I know that from, camping that I do. So I'm just saying, I'm just really worried about grounds burning here in town.
So some, to put your mind at ease, with us doing away with the 2x3 and everything having to be inspected, one of the things that we look at when we do the inspection is the KDI report or the soil moisture report.
Oh, good.
One of the things that we look at is, because you're correct, that can happen, it can burn through the roots and be burning for a good while in what's known as an incipient burn, but that won't happen if the ground has enough soil. And so when we write permits, one of the things we look at is the KDI report for the next couple of days, telling us how much moisture there is in the ground to ensure that we're not going to send this through the roots to the neighbor's house or something.
Okay, I feel safer now.
I agree with you.
I agree with you too, and I'm glad you're looking out for safety.
I'm trying.
All right, make a motion, we accept this ordinance as amended to remove the 2x3 fire and replace that, and move the barrel into that category. Everything requiring a permit except for contained fires.
Can you use the phrase open burning?
Yes, so you must have a permit for all open burning within, all contained fires are good without a permit, but otherwise.
With the exception of a burn barrel being classified as an open burn. Is that correct or no?
Well,
When you say
it already
that-
says here, burning in a barrel, grill, or other enclosed covered structure is permitted unless otherwise instructed. So just get rid of the line of piles over 2x3 must be.
Okay, so we're just removing the 2x3 piles.
Just move the 2x3 pile without an inspection and you're good.
Okay.
So, hold on. What about neighbors that have respiratory problems or something like that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we gotta look, because if we're burning leaves, the leaves smoke a lot, don't they?
They do.
What about people with allergies?
I mean,
Whatever.
I get what
well,
you're
y'all go ahead and
saying.
make the motion, I mean.
Then they need to stay inside on the days the neighbors were.
You know, I mean,
It would be a good neighborhood for sure,
Well,
but you can't.
a lot of these houses are a lot closer together than they are.
I would argue that in those instances, getting the 20 feet from either a residence or a property line is going to be difficult, which is still a part of the
In some of,
inspection.
yeah, in some of those yards, it's gonna be tough.
So there
Because
just
you can't
aren't,
do it
there are
anything.
houses that just won't be given this permit?
Correct.
That cannot, okay.
Correct. If houses are close together like that, and you can't be at least 20 feet from every property line, major roadway, or structure, you're not given a permit. So the houses that are close together just won't get one.
So if the ordinance reads, all open burning must be permitted by VFD, that's good. That'll encompass the 2x3, 3x4, whatever you.
And that'll be fine for us. If you would like us to, since you're passing this now, you want me to put a fee on it?
I'd like you folks to assess the fee because if it gets more complicated, I don't like setting a standard fee to.
That was going to be
You might
my,
be able to skip
I would not be comfortable doing that, but that had been discussed, and so I would like to be able to go back and confer with my people on that.
I would rather them be responsible for permits and fees and whatnot, like.
Okay.
See,
I'm okay with that too. I just wanted to know what's down
City Hall
to.
with
I
that.
agree, and clearly, in order for you to issue permits, someone has to take time, go out and
Correct.
inspect, and, you know, and do due diligence and
Correct.
stuff. So the VFD should be compensated for that, without doubt. Okay, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, my bad. First thing, our city attorney has a question.
So we're going to exclude from this, chief, we're going to exclude any barbecue pits. You're not going to inspect all barbecue pits.
Correct. So enclosed structures, barbecue pits, fire pits, and burn barrels.
Burn barrels. You're not going to inspect burn barrels.
Correct. But they have to be able to be covered or enclosed. That is the part of this. So even with burn barrels, they have to be able to at least have a screen on.
So if you've got a fire pit where you've got one of those grills that you can swing over and cook on the fire pit,
Yep.
you're going to have a permit.
Negative. We would count that as a closed grill.
And if someone violates this, this is a health and safety,
It is.
so we can go up to $2,000 on a fine,
We can.
okay? So that needs to be part of this ordinance too, the penalty for violating the ordinance.
The penalty, if they
That's
get
what
caught
you
not
go up to
getting a
2,000.
permit. I'm for that.
But that's, you know, of course, that's the discretion of the court, what they will set that at, the judge or the jury.
Does that cap out at 2,000? If they go burn somebody's house down, like transportation, are they not then on the hook for burning somebody's house down?
Well, that would be civil.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be total, it's like a ticket, you get a ticket and you have to go to court.
Okay. All right.
Up to 2,000, do we want to make a minimum on that?
I would leave it at the court's discretion. That's just
Okay,
my
Scott, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
You don't have to play the advocate over here.
I'd leave it up, I'm with the chief, I'd leave that up to your discretion.
That's great, that's great. But I would prefer you put a penalty clause in there.
I agree.
Absolutely. Because if you don't, people will do it.
Sounds like we might have a semi-complicated motion. So,
Should I
two
have my
things.
motion?
Oh, I'll entertain any motion if you can surmise, if you can put all that together where it makes good sense.
I'll make a motion, we pass the ordinance. I'll make a motion, we pass the ordinance with the amendment that all open fires, all open uncontained fires be only permitted by permit, and a health and safety fine be assessed for anyone not following the regulation up to $2,000 with no minimum.
Fees and permit.
And fees and permit, with permit fees being determined by the VFW, or VFD.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna give Dora and Denise a little time to write.
I got it.
You got it already? Okay.
I'll second it.
I didn't mean to be comical, but I think it's well put. I think everybody understands what we're doing. Okay, so rather than repeat his motion, we're going to do as stated. Okay, we have a second from Debbie. Do we have any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, motion passes 4-1. Michael opposed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank
Hey,
you,
thank
Chief.
you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll go back to agenda item number 8. Consider and act upon adopting an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation, Series 2024, in an amount not to exceed $2.5 million, providing payment thereof by the levy of an ad valorem tax, and further secured by a lien of the pledged revenues of the utility system, and other matters in connection therewith. Who wants it first, David? It's up to you.
You come up, gentleman from
Hello, Mayor and Council. My name is Mark McCliney. I'm with Samco Capital Markets. I've worked with the city for 30 years as financial advisor when you borrow money. My partner, Ryan Cunningham, is with me, and he'll be making part of the presentation. And your bond lawyer, Lauren Ferraro, is right here to my left. You can address anything with the bond ordinance that's she's handing to her right now. I've really got good news. Today, or this past week, we ended up with our really first bond rating in about 20 years. The city has sold all its bonds non-rated. Everything that's outstanding has been non-rated by the rating agencies because they were either privately placed or sold to the Texas Water Development Board. In getting a bond rating, we're really opening up the bonds and the purchasers throughout the country. Because our bond rating, which I'm going to go through, and it's at your dais, there's a rating report that I put there, and I'd encourage you all to read it. We ended up with an A+. An A+ rating has to be comparable here as it would be in Connecticut, would be in Florida, would be in Colorado. And so the report really puts us on stage saying we're doing the things properly. The highest rating possible is a AAA. There are very few out there. AA, there are, not very frequent on our size cities. And then there's A, it goes to triple B, double B, and it keeps going down the scale. We wanted to be where we landed, A+. This really is a feather in the cap, and it really brought interest into the bidders that we went through today. The way the rating process worked is they took all your audits, they took your financial information, ad valorem, as well as your utility system, and compiled that information. And after they got that, we had about an hour interview with David, Dora, and Denise, and the rating agencies. And they reviewed the city and compiled it, went to a rating committee, and came back with A+. And that really, as I said, is really important and really good. And it's the first time in over 20 years that you all have been carrying a bond rating. And it's really important as you progress as a city. All sorts of developers, one of the questions they will ask is, what's the city's bond rating? And to say we didn't have one, we're really kind of under the radar. So it really is a big deal, and I'm really proud to report that the report came in at A+. Read it at your convenience. Today, we received bids, and I'll let Ryan go through that process, and then we will give a recommendation on awarding to the bonds, or awarding the bonds. And this is, by the way, for the water tower project. So with that, Ryan. And this is at your dais too, the bid tabulation sheet.
It's a story statement.
Thanks, Mark. So we went out and we went out to procure bids in a competitive environment, in the similar way to how you go out and bid other services, taking the lowest interest rate bid. Now, there was, as Mark had stated, there was good interest with the A+ rating, and the lowest bid came in from Raymond James. So what does that really mean? So we were running conservative rates at about 4.5% on this $2.5 million borrowing, but where we ended up was 3.65%, so almost a full 1% lower. But what does that really mean as far as payments for the city and savings? We were looking at about, it's $148,000 less than what we ran preliminarily. So that's just a credit to you, the rating, and just a lot of work coming together and a strong market. But the appetite that we had numerous bidders in the market for this, especially the first time that you've gone out for doing a public sale in a really long time, and with that new credit rating. So we're glad to answer any questions if you want to get any more weeds on the numbers, but we're looking for approval of the certificates.
You said 3.65?
Yes.
3.69.
Okay, thank you.
That's it. Oh, yes, on the bid was 669, but we resized it to 3.65 with the final.
Oh,
Excellent, thank you. How many years was it?
20 years.
20 years, okay. I don't know what any of this stuff means.
Well, it means we got a good interest rate on the money we're about to borrow. So,
Thank you, I do know that much.
Yeah.
It's the old white pages here that I don't quite understand.
yeah, I'm kind of the same way, you know.
Trusting David.
I mean, you referred to this already?
Yes.
Okay, okay, so the question I had there myself was, so we have the total interest cost, okay, and then we have a premium that is subtracted from that. Can you explain the premium?
Yeah, so the premium is the difference between the coupons and the yield. So what we go out to do, so we can put $2.5 million in the construction fund for the project, we set parameters on the sale to generate that premium that will cover the cost of issuing the financial advisory fee, the Texas Attorney General fee, bond counsel, and all those. So that's what we go in there, so we can have $2.5 million in the construction fund for the project, not less than that. So that's why it's set up that way. So what we do is we get the bids, we tabulate the lowest interest rate wins, and then based on 2.5 million and then total amount, and then we resize it so that 2.5 million goes into the construction fund and there's premium generated to cover the cost of issuance. Otherwise, you would end up with less than 2.5 million for the project.
Okay.
so tonight we need just to award it, is what
Exactly,
you're
to
asking
approve
us to
it,
do?
yes, and to award
Okay.
the bidder rating.
And our, all our accounting people and Mr. Jordan is good with all that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank Mr. McClimey for walking us through the process. Like I said, we had multiple meetings and
They do a great job.
right, came up with a good rating, and then we're online today to be able to witness the bid process before it closed at 11 o'clock. So if this is passed, then we'll have the 2.5 million in the bank probably about 30 days from now, and then the first thing we could do, since we went for our letter of intention, we can pay ourselves back on the money that's already been spent for the groundwater storage tank.
And order, you have to order, correct? Or is it already ordered?
It's already in the process.
Okay,
That's ma'am.
just making sure.
I have another question. So you just answered one of them. Okay, so when you do this, you get the 2.5 million up front.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are you allowed to earn interest on that?
Yes, and you're allowed to earn interest on that.
Okay,
Yes.
so what you don't spend is sitting there gaining interest?
Yeah, exactly. So go into the project fund account, and you can be earning interest, which, as you know, is high right now, so you can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was restricted or not. Okay, in this process.
Kind of help pay back.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
when you have that kind of money, it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That answers my question.
Make a motion.
Go ahead.
Make a motion, we adopt an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the city's combination tax revenue certificate of obligation, series 2024, in an amount not to exceed $2.619374.30, providing payment thereof by levy on ad valorem tax and further secured by a lien of the pledged revenues of the Unity Systems.
I think he has to include the principal amount in that motion?
You don't need to. I think I'll just award to Raymond James.
Or the Raymond James.
Yeah, there you go.
Raymond James and Associates.
And Associates.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to award the issuance of the city's combination tax and revenue certificates of obligation to Raymond James and Associates. Further discussion?
Sounds good.
Caesar salad. Okay, all in favor? Motion carries unanimous. That will be ordinance number 3-24A.
And Mayor, I need to get 2 signatures so we can award this to Raymond James this evening. So if I need to get your signature and then Dora, oh, you're doing that right now. And David, I need to get 2 from you too.
Oh, we're getting all rolling over here.
Hey, if it makes it so everything goes quicker, I'm all for it.
You guys have this?
You said 324.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's it. And the money will be here in about a month and, pardon?
You got mine?
Yep.
Okay, she got mine? You got this? Okay.
Ultimate Heritage Exchange.
Yeah, that's, all right. Thank you all very much. We appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
look forward to-
Thank you all very much.
And, just to correct earlier, he mentioned the water tower project, but it's the water tank.
Water tank,
The
yeah.
tank storage project over by Wall State. Okay, that's going to be getting redone. Okay, moving on, please. Agenda
Thank you.
item number 9. Consider and act upon adopting a resolution suspending the April 4th, 2024 effective date of AEP Texas Incorporated's requested rate change to permit the city time to study the request and to establish reasonable rates, approving cooperation with the city served by AEP Texas, and authorizing intervention of AEP Texas Incorporated's requested rate change proceedings before the commission. Hiring Lloyd Gosling attorneys and consulting services to negotiate with the company and direct any necessary litigation and appeals, requiring reimbursement of city's rate case expenses, finding that the meeting in which this resolution is passed is open to the public as required by law, and requiring notice of this resolution to the company and the legal counsel. There's a whole lot of stuff there. So, in case, just so I don't mess it up, we'll turn it over to our city attorney, Tom Kay.
Whenever AEP wants to get a rate increase, they have to come before the Public Utility Commission. And historically, we've had some cities that are serviced by AEP, Corpus Christi, Harlingen, and some of the larger cities down in the valley. They're all serviced by AEP, and they put together a steering committee. So when AEP files the rate increase request, they get in touch with the steering committee through the attorney Thomas Mercado with Lloyd Gosling up in Austin, and they tell us about this, and then that gives us the opportunity to file a contest with the PUC contesting the rate increase, and Mercado and those lawyers represent us, and people have been on the council before this. We've come before the council with this before. So what they're asking for us to do is to pass this resolution saying we contest the rate increase and give Mercado and that group of lawyers the opportunity to review everything that AEP has submitted to the PUC. And then what will happen is AEP and this law firm, with their hired consultants, they'll get together and they'll work out a rate increase that's agreeable. And then they'll let us know about that.
So this is what we're asking for.
We are asking that they do not implement the rate increase. That's right, because the city of Devine has retained original jurisdiction over rate increases on AEP. And that's why we're going through this right now. We could surrender that. We haven't done this, and this is something that's not on the agenda today. But in the future, if the council wanted to, we could surrender our jurisdiction, our original jurisdiction for this, and give that jurisdiction to the PUC. But that's another issue. Right now, we have retained original jurisdiction, so we need to make this decision. If we don't do anything, well then that will mean that we consent to this rate increase. And we've never consented to a rate increase because they have always asked for more.
It never happens.
Yeah.
So, is everybody good? It's either we say go ahead and give us a rate increase, or we try to have a negotiate and get a better rate.
I'll make the motion that we adopt a resolution to file a contest on the AEP rate change.
Okay, we do have a motion. I wish I knew you were going to speak. We could have got you first.
If you give me the opportunity.
Okay? Okay, we'll wait on the motion
Yep,
services
that's fine.
later and do your best to talk into the mic. We're working on that. Okay? Please state your name and company. I know you, but
Jimmy Artist, AEP Texas, External Affairs Manager for the area. Is it working? Okay. What we're asking is that you deny it. Deny the
Oh, is
right.
that what I need?
Deny the right. That's what we're asking. Your attorneys are asking you to suspend. And I just wanted to give just a few quick points and then you can discuss and make your motion. We're required to present a rate increase or to file a rate case by April 2024 per the previous rate case. Couple things to note, and you see this in your town. We've experienced 20 years of normal growth in the last 2 years. 20 years of growth in the last 2 years.
that's in the line. It's here in the line.
Yeah, well, you see some of your substation expanding.
I always figured
Growth in the area is expanding.
I just always figured that was a long time coming.
Well, again,
Go ahead, Jimmy, I'm sorry.
this investment that we're asking for, I mean, we're basically running on 2018 dollars. Your previous meeting that I was here, you were discussing all the improvements and things you need to make in the city and how much everything costs. Nothing is in 2018 dollars. Everything is more, supply chain, interest rates are through the roof. Yeah, so all that affects us just like it affects you running the city. With that growth, we're trying to continue to improve the capacity of transmission lines. The grid, that's always on the news. Here comes the winter, is the grid going to hold? Here comes the summer, is the grid going to hold? So upgrading, continuing to build and improve transmission lines that are part of the grid, continue to expand and build on existing substations to bring more capacity in your town, to make your town more enticing to those businesses that would like to build in your areas or around your areas to have the additional capacity that they need. So that's some of the reasons why we're filing the case and asking for the dollar amount that we have asked for. All that should have been delivered to you at the end of February. That was passed and released to all the cities. And Tom is correct. You do have jurisdiction. Some cities that I cover have ceded that to the PUC. All we're asking is that we want you to deny it so that way we can appeal directly to the PUC to apply the rates to all of our towns equally. And what we're currently proposing would, the customer in the central Texas areas would see on a 1,000 kilowatt hour average a $2.11 increase on their bills.
Now I'm curious. Why do folks choose to be inside a city when those substations are still going to supply the power to all the surrounding areas? Wouldn't it be more cost effective to be outside a city limit?
A lot of these were built when towns were smaller and towns have grown around them. So, yeah.
And does our jurisdiction there then impact all these surrounding areas around the substation or just within the city of Devine?
We're talking about substations throughout our whole territory, all of AEP Texas.
Those are more just a vote.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Not speaking to Devine, so, yeah. But we're trying to do all, it's all tied together. Again, you're talking about a grid. It's not just AEP Texas too. It's all, Encore, Centerport, and other utilities. We're all tied together. We're trying to improve our reliability and our infrastructure to be able to provide more power. And you being a tech person, we talked last time about data centers and the power that they, go through. There you go. We have data centers coming up in this area, whether they're in the AEP Texas footprint directly or in a co-op territory, they're in Texas. And that's the things that we need to do to improve reliability to continue to grow the cities and the businesses around.
Thank you.
That's all I had to say. Are there any questions or anything that I can address before you all continue?
So you're saying whatever rates, okay, are approved, it's going to affect everybody else the same, exactly.
That's what we're trying, that's our goal, is to apply the rates to the same to all of our cities.
And Tom, you say we should contest versus deny.
Deny. No, well, deny it.
Okay, you're saying deny.
So I need to amend it?
Yes, just for clarification, just say deny.
So you agree with you?
So I want to adopt the resolution to deny.
Excuse me, what we need to do is we need to follow exactly how it is on the...
All right, I'll read the paragraph.
Okay.
Suspend.
I make the motion to adopt a resolution suspending the April 4th, 2024 effective date of AEP Texas Inc.'s requested rate change to permit the city time to study the request and to establish reasonable rates, approving cooperation with the cities served by AEP Texas and authorizing intervention in AEP Texas Inc.'s requested rate change proceedings before the commission, hiring Lloyd Gosling attorneys and consulting services to negotiate with the company and direct any necessary litigation appeals, requiring reimbursement of city's rate case expenses, finding the meeting at which this resolution is passed is open to the public as required by law, requiring notice of this resolution to the company and legal counsel.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie as written on the agenda. Question before I recognize a second. So Tom, what you're suggesting is that we approve the rate increase request.
We're going to, just as Mayor, just as the agenda item states, the resolution suspending that effective date.
Okay, suspending it is approving it, denying, she didn't say denying the motion.
Yeah, no, she said, she read this exactly what's here, Mayor, and that's the way that it should be. Because that's the way Mercado and his lawyers want it.
Suspending it means we're not doing it, right?
Yeah, we're suspending it.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
So we're going with the EP or not?
No, it's,
So we're
going
gonna-
to challenge the rate
Gonna
increase.
challenge it.
The motion is to challenge the rate increase and hopefully negotiate a better deal. Okay, am I correct?
You're correct.
Got it. Okay. I'll entertain a second. We have a second from Josh. Any further questions? Now's the time to ask. All right. All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Jeannie. Okay, the ordinance for that was just passed. Ordinance number 3-24B as in boy. 3-24B. Okay, thanks, Jimmy. All right, at this time, we'll move on to agenda item number 10. Consider and act upon approving the airport proposal submitted by Dallas Collins for Hangar 10. At this time, I have a statement that I need to make. And Laura, would you please, we were messing around with sound and everything, I didn't get around to putting these in front of you, but I have a couple handouts that I would like to council to reference. And I need those myself.
Sure.
That's a mess. I'll pick those up.
Okay. These handouts and this, what I'm about to say refers to Facebook post by Ms. Randall, the District 5 Councilperson from this past Saturday in reference to this agenda item. And I would like to read it to you for the record. We can't have handouts for everyone except at this table. Like Trump says, drain the swamp, exclamation point. It was brought to my attention, and I have confirmed to multiple sources, including the city administrator, that a meeting took place at the airport yesterday. It is beyond disappointing and a slap in the face to all Devine citizens for city leadership to propose a meeting with individuals who have fleeced the citizens of over $850,000 barely 12 months ago because they would not bring their operations into compliance with state and city requirements. If certain individuals have that much time on their hands, then they need to be out watching Rise Internet, so that way they stop hitting all of our water lines and we don't have to deal with boiled water notices. Beyond yesterday's slap in the face, it is beyond frustrating to see city leadership would entertain and advocate for leasing a 17,000 plus square foot hangar for as little as $500 a month. When less than 9 months ago, the mayor himself said that a $1,500 a month offer was unacceptable, that it needed to be at least $4,700 a month for that space. Think about your own space. Think about how much money you pay for rent/mortgage. Is your house 17,000 square foot? I'm not sure what's going on or why certain things are advocated for, even though they clearly don't seem to line up with the best interests of the citizens/city, or why individuals are being brought into conversations despite the fact their behavior was the original issue. Nevertheless, I feel that people should know what's going on in their government. Let's keep working to make Devine great again. Once again, this was the words of Ms. Randall. So rather than get into craziness on Facebook, I thought it best to just read and ask my questions in person.
Okay.
Okay. I'm very concerned with this. I feel that there are several misrepresentations in here, accusations based on assumption, and half-truths, which are very unsettling to those who read it. So I would like to set things straight. Okay. What meeting are you referring to?
That Mr. Ehlinger was having a meeting with Mr. Collins at the airport, when Mr. Ehlinger is the reason why we're in $1 million debt and having to repair those hangars. I don't see why he was brought in at all. I don't care that he owned the hangar before, but we went through 2 years of negotiations and legal battles with him. I don't see why he was brought in. That's my personal opinion, and I'm allowed to have it.
Yes, ma'am, you are. Even if it is incorrect and you were well, if you were well based. Okay. Secondly, okay, I just want to establish exactly what you mean you're talking about. Okay. That's number one. Okay. That meeting was not proposed by the city administrator, nor the mayor, or anyone in the city. Okay, so you're way off base on that part. Okay. That meeting was requested by Mr. Collins. Okay, he already had the meeting lined up with Mr. Ehlinger, and he asked for them to be allowed to view the hangar. That is in the email that Mr. Jordan sent to you to confirm later that afternoon.
He set it up, that he did have it done.
Who said that?
Okay, it says here that Mr. Jordan knew, and he asked him, I was notified by Dallas Collins that he asked Mr. Ehlinger to meet him at the airport to inspect the hangar 10. And that Mr. Jordan notified the airport manager. So we knew about the meeting. Why didn't we say, if you want to meet off the side of the airport?
Well, that's very simple to understand, okay? It's very simple to understand. Number one, no one set up a meeting other than Mr. Collins. That's number one. Okay, number two, contrary to what you went on about the $500 a month, he was proposing to invest $100,000 of his own money. Please let me finish, okay? So all I know is if I'm going to invest $100,000 in a project, okay, I would probably want to hear from the previous owner too and take a tour of the building, okay? We as a council gave Mr. Jordan permission to negotiate and with the process with Mr. Collins at the last meeting. No one from the city was there. No one from the city participated, and yet you suggest that it was somehow secretive, under the table, and shouldn't have happened. And I don't see how you
use those words, but I understand what you're saying.
Well,
but it is my opinion, and I am willing to have it. And that is my opinion. I get what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But this was my opinion on Saturday.
It is your opinion that the city deliberately worked with Mr. Alinger, who you just mentioned later on, okay, in your letter, fleeced the city of Devine out of $850,000.
Well, he was told many, many times that he couldn't do non-aviation work at the airport, many times, and Tom Cape can back that up. And that's why we started what we started for 2 years.
Okay, and once again, how does that come into play that Mr. Collins wants to have a walkthrough of the building?
Can I request a point of order?
Yes, sir, you may.
Was Mr. Ellinger given a restraining order or anything that he was not permitted on the premise?
No, he was not.
Okay.
Okay, so not to get ahead of things, okay? In your statement, in your Facebook post, you mentioned that through multiple sources, that you have multiple sources that a meeting took place. Who are your sources?
I don't have to tell you that, but I had people at the airport calling me, and then Mr. Jordan confirmed it too.
I was actually there when Mr. Jordan confirmed your text message. He and I were working accounts payable. You sent a text message, and yes, he told you about it. And he also explained that Mr. Collins asked for Mr. Alinger to give him a walk through the building. He asked you, is there anything wrong? Is there something I need to know? You didn't answer his question. You said, thank you.
That's all I wanted to know.
Well, and you found out without, and then he sent you an explanation later that afternoon, which council has in front of them here, which thoroughly explains what happened, and it was not set up and proposed by our city administrator or the mayor or any city leadership.
Our city administrator still knew it was happening.
Well, once again, okay.
I'm not saying he set it up, I'm saying he knew it was happening.
Yeah. Well, you know, I didn't know it was happening, and I tell you why. It doesn't matter, because that's interfering with city business, the day-to-day business of the city, and everyone sitting here on this panel knows that we're not to do that.
I wasn't interfering with the city's day-to-day, I was giving my opinion of what was happening. And I am allowed to give my opinion.
And then also, by you saying, confirming through multiple sources, only one person knew about this meeting, and that was the person that he asked to open the hangar for. That's a city employee.
No, it wasn't, okay, I will tell you it wasn't a city employee that called me. But I had 2 people calling me from the airport saying, hey, Edlinger's here, why? I'm like,
I just
I don't know.
happened to...
Oh, he's meeting with Mr. Collins. Oh, okay, thanks.
They just happened to call you?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Anyway, remember, when you, to me, it suggests engaging appropriately with city employees, and we all know we need to be super careful
I
about doing
don't
that.
talk to city employees
Okay.
unless I'm here with y'all.
Okay, and once again, council gave Mr. Jordan the authority to negotiate and work with the contractor on the proposal.
Huh?
And you knew it.
I'm
And you
not
also
saying
had-
we didn't.
you
I
also-
have an opinion on what happened.
Yes, ma'am.
I gave my opinion. I'm sorry you don't agree with me, and we could just agree to disagree.
Well, what I don't agree with is the way that you stretch this out, you change everything, you're accusatory. Nothing is based on fact, or you completely misconstrued the facts of what happened. Okay, and even though he sent you another email that afternoon, you continued with your post the very next day.
Well, to be honest with you, I did my post. I was out of town. I did not have access to the emails. I mean, so I didn't see that till I got back into town Sunday night. It wouldn't have made really a difference on how I wrote the post.
Okay, so you're saying the city leadership that you're speaking about, is it me? Is it David? Is it anyone in the council?
It's the leadership, isn't it? I mean, come on now.
You said beyond yesterday slap in the face. Okay?
I felt it.
Or
For
you
me, it
also
was a
said,
slap in the face, Mr. Mayor, and I don't understand why you're putting me on the carpet for having an opinion that differs from yours.
well, I'm going to tell you why, because it's not the truth.
Well, in your mind, it's not the truth. In mine, it is.
Okay, we're not going to digress here. Just please answer the questions factually. I'm not going to elaborate, but I'm asking you,
I'm done.
when you said for city leadership to propose a meeting with individuals, what city leadership are you talking about?
I don't have to explain more than what I've written.
Why not?
I don't have to. I can have.
What
It is a
city
free,
leadership?
open world to have an opinion and freedom of speech.
What
I
city
said what I
leadership-
said, it's all factual.
What city leadership are you referring
I don't
to?
have to say that. Mr. Cade, do I have to? Okay, I'm done.
Good enough.
You don't
okay.
like my post, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am, I do not.
Okay.
I think it's completely out of line and
Okay.
and irresponsible, and you're misinforming
So when other
your
posts
followers.
hit the floor
Okay.
and I come to you about it, you won't bring it up into a city council meeting when I've asked to. But
I won't.
all of a sudden, if it's me, we gotta make a big deal and make it all public.
Well, right
No
now
problem,
it is.
Mr. Mayor.
No, ma'am, I didn't make it public. You made it public when you posted it on Facebook.
So did
Okay?
what
So
other things
the other
happened
thing,
before.
the other thing, if certain individuals have that much time on their hands, now you're referring to someone within the city leadership, then they need to be out watching Rise Internet. So that way they stop hitting all of our water lines and we don't have to deal with oil, water, notices. Is that appropriate?
Why not? We've had a water line hit at least 3 times a week, if not more.
And you think that this city leader you're referring to here could have prevented that by going out and overseeing?
Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
I have a question for Mr. Cade. What was the outcome whenever, I don't know if it was the former mayor or Debbie were bringing up these sorts of Facebook issues against Angela Pichardo? Did we ever come to a resolution on that, or was it just a big shoot blunt?
I don't think that there was a specific resolution about that. It was something that happened.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I understand that too, okay? I just was hoping you would answer the questions. Okay? And I guess that's how you're going to answer them. And then I would also like to say also to me it's almost slander by using the word fleecing the city, because he sold the hangars to the city agreed to do it.
And we had to pay him $40,000 to move his stuff out.
That was also the city's choice, and I'm not going to get into that part of it, but this issue is of great interest to me, and I have considerable research into it, emails and interviews with TxDOT representatives and such, and that's not what I'm finding out, that we were forced. The claim is that the city of Devine was forced to buy the hangars by TxDOT because of the inappropriateness of Alinger's use of the hangars.
Well, that's you're gonna have to take up with Tom,
Yeah,
because
well,
he
we will
was
take
in
it
charge of
up.
that.
Yes, ma'am, we will. So, you know, rather than going back and forth on Facebook and being crazy, I just thought I would ask you here because
No, you wanted
talked
to
about-
embarrass me, Mr. Mayor, and I
You
kind of
talked
take
about-
offense to it.
You talked about city leadership, so that's what I wanted to ask you.
Well,
Okay?
yes, I
And
do.
if you want to take offense, I completely understand that, but I think there was more offense caused by your Facebook post. Anything else? Also, the facts that you gave also about the proposed numbers also were also half-truth. You left out quite a few things on those. The $500 a month that we were suggesting to give for that hangar, you forgot to mention $100,000 was also included in that deal.
We're still gonna have to make the loan payment. That is my whole deal. And
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
always been since you brought this up 2 months ago. Not just you, Mr. Jordan.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have always said that.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So, I'm through at this time. If anyone wants to, matter of fact, David, would you please tell us about Mr. Collins' proposal?
So we don't have a proposal submitted at this time from Mr. Collins. The proposal that I mentioned last week was that he was going to forward a conceptual design of what he planned to do. As y'all are aware, the original offer was $500 a month, and he was going to invest up to $100,000 of his own money over the next 5 years or so. So Mr. Collins is a construction professional, and he was going to agree to wrap the building, install a pilot's lounge with bathroom, and upgrade the inside of the facility, because he was gonna move his business out there, and we want the representation of him, so he said it's gonna be a high-quality construction project. However, I do not have anything to submit to the city council tonight. He did meet with Mr. Erlinger earlier in the week to get an idea of what the whole totality of the circumstances were, and to ask some questions regarding the water wells and so forth on the property. I have spoken with some other possible prospects. Don't have anything solid to give you. I do have a meeting on April the 2nd with the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, regarding the requirements of selling the airport, and I will be able to report those back to you once I speak with them. Myself and Mr. Benson, the TxDOT Aviation representative, will be on that call, as well as Mr. Cate. That's all I have to report on the airport at this time.
Question. Can we start recording these phone calls with the FAA, TxDOT, just to make sure there are never any misunderstandings about requirements to use eminent domain or anything like that?
Duly noted.
Thank you.
So is there any action that needs to be taken on this tonight, since we don't have a proposal?
Well, you can, or you can, or you can table it, wait for a proposal. David, did we hear from Mr. Collins at all today?
Not today, no, sir.
And he knew that the deadline was
Yes,
yesterday?
He knew the deadline was actually Friday to submit the conceptual design, so I could give it to council to review over the weekend.
But he's still interested.
We do not.
We don't
I
know.
haven't heard from him.
If anybody's still interested.
Yes, we do have people still interested, and I do have another interested party today. They contacted me, so I'm going to speak more with them and see what they're proposing.
Okay. Or since we're still actively accepting proposals.
We're still actually in conversation with, yes, with other possibilities. And everyone so far that's come forth is aviation-related businesses.
Thank you.
Okay, on this Dallas, I was trying to do some numbers in my head and write them down. Okay, so he wanted to do $500 a month, right?
Yes, sir.
For 3 years.
Well, that was the original.
That was the original. So we don't even know what he's gonna offer now, or what he wants to do, or anything like that, right?
We
Because
don't
even if so is he still interested with his 100,000, or?
I don't know yet. I haven't heard from him since him and Mr. Erlinger met on Friday.
I believe we also still have that other offer on the table, the fellow from Stinson.
Right, Mr. Hamid, that's $2,000 a month. His proposal is $2,000 a month. The hangar as is, no repairs.
Do you want to see if
That was
Dallas
probably
wants to
one
wait
year.
a year or something? Because it seems like he's taking his time for one reason or another. If not to say a bad reason, but does he just want to wait until next year? Dallas Denton's going to stick around.
I think this is the second time we've actually moved this issue, waiting on his response. Completely up to you guys. Okay, so,
Okay, personally, I trust David more on this just because he's the one interacting with all these folks, got a better feel for the ground truth. I mean, we're just scaring second, third hand,
yeah.
kind of establishing our opinions.
I mean, that's Dallas Collins, I mean, I'm sorry you got scared off, but I think that was a better deal, because he's putting his own money in, and you average that in those 3 years at that 100,000. I think every year it adds up to, at least if he completes the contract for 3 years, that's almost $33,000 a month. I mean, a year. That, you see what I'm saying?
And then it would also save the $17,000 that was encumbered for the repair on that hangar.
Yeah.
That could possibly be used for hangar 8A, or not even used on the airport at all. So there's another $17,000 included in there, so let's just say the first year you got, there was $500, $600 plus the $17,000 that you're saving. Well, now you're right around the $2,000 a month that the other guy was proposing. But he may have come back with a completely different offer after seeing the building, or it could have been better, it could have been less, who knows? Okay, so,
Probably thought it was gonna take more money to fix it or something like that.
or maybe not as much, we don't know. So, once again, completely up to council, if you want consider more proposals, and then if he comes up with one, include him in the package. Or we do have one that appears to be pretty solid with the fellow Habib, who's currently at Stinson. Council can maybe choose to go that direction.
What do you think's wise, David?
Actually, since I believe I would wait, I have some more proposals I'd like to present to the council before y'all make a decision, which could potentially be more than what's been offered right now. Oh, I'm sorry.
Good, I think.
It could potentially be more than what's offered right now.
I make a motion we table this until next month, or next meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to table the airport proposals until the next meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second from Stacy. Anything further? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Okay, that takes us to agenda item number 11. Consider and act upon authorizing the mayor to sign the regional mutual aid agreement with the Alamo Area Council of Governments, otherwise known as ACOG. Okay, David.
Actually, this document is just an update from the agreement that's already been made between the city of Devine and Alamo Area Council of Governments. And basically, just like we did with the Medina County Emergency Management Plan and the Hazard Mitigation Plan, this is just another layer to help us in the event of an emergency. We'll have additional resources that we can request through ACOG, which is Bexar County, San Antonio area, and the metropolitan cities that have resources that have joined this mutual aid agreement. We can request assistance in the event that our resources are expended and we need additional help. The document requests that the mayor and its chief executive officer of the city sign it, so I'll just bring it to the council so we can update the original signatures on the document.
So is this just something we need to make a motion?
This is a formality that I signed.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we do need to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay. I'll make the motion authorizing the mayor to sign the regional mutual aid agreement with the Alamo Area Council of Governments.
Okay, we have a motion from Stacy to authorize the mayor to sign a regional mutual aid agreement with ACOG. We have a second from Flipper. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Agenda item number 12. Consider and act upon awarding engineer services for the 2024 FIF program. City Administrator, would you refer to the proposed drainage bond, I believe?
Yes, sir.
That we qualify for? Okay.
This item is in regard to the drainage bond that we spoke about, goes through Barker Creek, as far as widening it, deepening it, and so forth, and putting the 3 bridges in. The presentation was made about a month ago regarding that plan. Garcia and Wright is our city engineer currently, and they presented a plan for the regional hazardous mitigation plan study, and that package was submitted and put us in first place to, once it was graded, it put us in first place to be rewarded if the city so desired. So last meeting, y'all agreed to fund the bond, or go out for the funding of the bond, and also gave us instructions on getting an engineer and an administrative grant administrator. So we had our committee meeting and we submitted the packets with the scoring, and Garcia and Wright Engineering scored the highest in this process for the engineering services. So the scoring sheets are in your packet, and I'm open for any questions that you might have.
By scored the highest, it's because you average those 3 score sheets together each one.
That's what they got.
Oh, got it, yeah. So the cumulatives, the average of all 3 scores.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I really like the first one there, 6S, I think it was, just because they have a marketing company. And maybe it's something we can add into Garcia and Wright or Arduro or whatever, whoever we choose. But I think that's the one thing we really miss a lot in every big project is effective marketing to the public. Nobody really understands, and this is the question I always get, what's going on with this water project? Because we don't have an effective marketing campaign to help the public better understand what phase we're on, where money's going, hiccups we're having with spending. And I mean, none of it's secret, it's all held at meetings that are open to the public, but we're not doing a good job conveying it. And I think that's probably outside the scope of what city staff should be doing for these sorts of projects. So I did really like that aspect of the first company, though. I think they were third on scoring, maybe second, if I take out the outlier.
They were third.
I mean, the outlier is not extremes of voting.
Well, I mean, that's why 3 people did it. They still gave it third.
We'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
Okay. Josh preferred the first company, 6S.
Do we know if that's something that Garcia and Wright can do?
Sure it is. Okay, remember, this isn't your standing engineer, okay, the consulting engineer we use all the time. This is just for this project. And if I'm not mistaken, Garcia and Wright has already done a lot of the legwork in the previous one. Just let everybody know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's just referring to awarding the engineer package for this project.
No, I was referring to what Josh said. Do we know if
Oh, I'm sorry.
the marketing is something that they can do?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You probably could ask him. I make the motion that we award the engineering services to Garcia and Wright for the 2024 FIF program.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie to consider and act upon awarding engineer services for the 2024 FIF program. We have a second from Flipper. Further discussion?
I'm curious how the grade was so significantly lower for 2 of them. What was standing out to you, Dora, in the grading?
Because I didn't know enough about them, and from what I could see, I didn't know enough about them, so I could give them a rate, and based looking at everything. I mean, we sat there and we looked and read everything. That was just my rate on that, on those 2, because I didn't.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's the outlier I'm looking at, 'cause it's dramatically lower than the other 2. And then Garcia, Wright, everyone disagreed on that one.
Well, actually, there was 2 out of 3 agreed on that one. Due to the fact that I've been a city administrator in this area before, I worked with 3 of the 4 previous engineers, so that gave me some experience on their work quality and so forth and so on. So my scoring was higher than the other 2 regarding that, but that's the reason why.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Debbie.
So is there a way for us to have
Go
just
ahead.
proposals instead of just qualifications? In other words, the different companies say this is how we would do it versus, yes, I see you're qualified, but do you have any different ideas to bring to the table?
I didn't hear your question, the beginning of your question, I'm sorry.
So this was a request for a qualification, right?
Yes.
So is there a way to request for proposal? In other words, and obviously they're not going to do the nitty-gritty engineering work of this many acre feet of water, but this is how I would do the drainage project versus these are my qualifications.
This is required how the state requires us to do this.
So we are not allowed to ask anybody for how they would do the project. We just have to hope they're going to do a good job.
Well, you could ask them, yes. You could ask them through a secondary interview. They could come, you could have them come down and present how they would do it, but of course, their RFQ show their qualifications, you see the packet, qualifications, their previous projects that they've done, they're certified engineers, and hydrologists and everybody that's in a engineering firm, and that's how they submit their packets. So, and after that, that's how we get our scoring. So.
Would be able to have maybe Garcia and Wright propose their idea and one of the others propose their idea, so we can make a more informed decision. Dora?
And, I don't know, David, maybe you might have been ready to tell you this, but remember the application is due April 15th, that's why we put it on the agenda now, and that's why it really, I mean, it was a lot of, the time was short for us to be able to score these, because we needed it to put on the agenda for the application to be submitted by April 15th. And so we need an administrator, and we need an engineer for the application.
There you go.
Okay, in the future, could we get the qualifications and some general proposals? Is that a reasonable ask, or is that, I don't want to give my ideas away to the next guy?
I think, yeah. Go ahead.
Generally, yes, to answer your question, you can have the top two come in, you can have them interview, do a presentation. This is what we would do if we were hired for this project. And so to answer your question, yes, sir. You can have them come in and say, this would be my plan. If I was hired to do this project, this is what I would do. So there could be a scoring process by reviewing their package that they submitted. Then there could be an interview process also considered into the equation before you make your award. But the scoring plays a factor, of course, in the selection process. So,
All right, thank you.
Okay, once again, we have the motion to approve Garcia and Wright engineer. And we have a second. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Abstained. Okay, we have 4 approvals. Josh abstains. Motion carries. Okay, in the same vein, for the same project, agenda item number 13, consider and act upon awarding administrative services for the 2024 FIF program. So this would be your grant administrator.
right. So our current grant administrator is Langford Associates. Currently, for this particular project, there's only one grant administrator who submitted, which was Langford and Associates. So for the flood infrastructure fund, they're the only ones that submitted an application packet for this opportunity.
Well, we've used them for many years.
Correct. So they're our current grant administrator, yes ma'am. So we've been using them for many years, they've done many projects, and been instrumental in getting the city multiple grants.
I'll make a motion that we authorize or award the administrative services to Langford and Associates for the 2024 FIF program.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie to award Langford and Associates the administrative services for the 2024 FIF program.
I'll second.
We have a second from Michael. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Langford and Associates will administer the grant if we choose to go through with it. Agenda item 14, consider and act upon nominees for the Zoning Reform Committee. Okay, at the last meeting we had 2 nominations and we need 3 more so we can finally finalize this committee. And for those who don't know, that this is a Zoning Reform Committee that will make recommendations to the current Planning and Zoning Board. So, okay, Stacy, do you have a nominee?
I'd like to nominate Cindy Morales.
Cindy Morales? Okay, we'll do this all together if we have 3. Okay, Michael?
I got Brian Navarro.
Okay. Michael nominates Brian Navarro. Flipper?
I got Miss Lawler.
Flipper nominates
Sandy Long.
Sandy Lawler. Okay, I just want to make sure it's the right one. Okay, all right, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we accept the nominations.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the 3 nominations.
I'll second.
Second from Michael. Any discussion?
Finally.
All right, you know, sometimes committees can be tough.
I was sick, John.
Okay, all right, so we now have a zoning reform committee, and keep in mind, this is for a year at this time unless you decide to continue it in the future. Agenda item 15.
You didn't take a vote.
Oh, I did it again, didn't I?
Once a meeting.
Yeah, it was so easy and unanimous, I gotta make it hard. Okay, all in favor? All right, motion carries unanimously. Okay, agenda item 15. Consider and act upon awarding the electrical bid for the golf course clubhouse. David.
Mr. Pete. We had a bid last week of $10,000 from STX. You asked us to go out for additional bids, and Mr. Sanchez has an update.
So this bid came out to, what was it, 6,000? I don't have to take more time.
7,300.
7,300.
So, yeah, I just turned it on right now, sorry. So it came out to 7,000. It's gonna be the same, almost the same type of work as Dustin. I have never worked with these people before, so I really don't know how it works.
Who is it?
It's Ray's Electric, Pleasanton.
And we did go out for additional bids, I'm sorry, we did go out for additional requests, and nobody else, but each trying to get a third proposal, and no one else responded. So just for the record.
And this is to clean up the attic electrical?
Yes,
correct?
ma'am.
So we have two bids. One guy's local, done a lot of work for us before. Okay, the other is from Pleasanton, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And he's also apparently capable. He looked at the attic one area, and he had the same recommendations as STX. Electric.
You went there? Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the other bid?
It's
The other bid was 10,000.
It's the cash app or the invoice on the thing.
It's on the back of this one. It's attached.
Oh, thank you, okay.
Well, we inspected afterwards, so we're all good to go regardless.
It does have to get inspected, right? I mean, we have to hire our department to come do that, right?
Certified electrician, and will be
Yes.
signed off on. Yes, ma'am.
And we don't pay them until inspection is complete, yeah?
Right.
All right. So we'll give the new person a shot. All right, I do love STX, don't get me wrong, but shop around a bit.
But it is over 20%.
It is significantly better. Yeah. Make a motion, we go with Reyes for the golf course electrical work.
Okay, we have a motion from John to award Ray's Electrical Contractors the bid for the...
And amend the budget to reflect.
Okay, to award the bid for the electrical work at the golf course clubhouse and to amend the budget accordingly.
Second.
We have a second from Flipper. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, it takes us over to 18. Consider and act upon approval of a cyber policy. City Administrator and IT Tech.
Yes, IT Tech was able to make it this evening. However, he was instrumental in helping us formulate this policy. Also, this policy has been reviewed by Mr. Cage, our legal representative, and this is a basic policy for cyber for the city at the moment. It can be built upon at a later date, but it does provide all the necessary safeguards to ensure that our systems are secure, all the proper training for the staff will be conducted, etc. So this will be put before you this evening for review.
Don't hate it.
Thank you.
It looks straightforward to me.
It does, it looks very normal. Everything I've had.
There are a few things, you know, I'm sure they won't cause too much issues. The only one is on page 9.
Page 9.
Let's see here. What is it? It talks about scanning that has to be go through the CIO.
I got it.
With the ISO. I think CIO.
Where's it at?
I lost it. No, that may or may not be it. There's a part in here that says nobody can do any scanning of the network without permission of the, I think it was the CIO, maybe it's the ISO, I don't remember which one it was. Either way, that would be the equivalent of saying that no legal team could look at our documents without Tom saying that they're allowed to look at it. So I would just say, anywhere it says any sort of officer or city administrator or something like that, just wait. Yes, we should always yield to the opinion of our IT guy, but if we're looking for someone to give a security assessment, we don't want our IT folks to know that we're getting a pen test done. Well, then we don't want them to know we're getting a pen test done. So we want you said to align that and then see what their response is, because that's a part of the bigger security testing.
Okay, so you're saying, you're mentioning, you recommended taking that out?
No, I'm not saying taking it out. I'm saying give an option of whatever officer or city administrator in those situations. That way you're able to do these sorts of things. It'd be kind of like testing the police department on their ability to do incident response, and you want it to be a surprise. So obviously we don't want to tell them in advance because we want to see how they respond. What is their time? So same thing for the IT folks. We want to see what the response is to a simulated attack. We don't want them to know because that kind of shows a training opportunity.
Well, they just went through that a week ago. But,
When'd you get your CISSP, Debbie?
I'm sorry?
When'd you get your CISSP, Debbie? That's all I got. Other than that, it's good enough.
Okay, well, like I said, once again, this is our new policy, so basic policy starting out for the city to get a policy on the books, and then we're going to evaluate and assess, as y'all give us direction to do, and then we can build off of that. But to ensure we have a policy in place right now, this is what I'm proposing.
Thank you for saying that. Thinking back, I sound like a real jerk. Yes, leaps and bounds better than having nothing. Thank you for getting something on paper. I appreciate that. It's not a nothing, it's just, I'm being a little too nitpicky, so thank you for that.
You guys got me, whatever they were recommending, you guys.
Page 3, fourth from last, port scanning, vulnerability scanning, or penetration testing without authorization from the ISO. Fourth from last bullet. You say the ISO or city administrator.
Okay, I got it.
So you're looking at the city administrator? Well, I see what you're saying.
Optionality.
I understand what you're saying. Still rather have our IT guy know what's coming.
Well, it depends on the type of test we want to do, whether we want to tell them or not. It just leaves that optionality.
Which book are you talking about, Josh, on page 3?
Page 3, fourth from the last bullet, port scanning, vulnerability scanning, or penetration testing without authorization from the ISO. And I'm assuming, I mean, there's a whole lot of rules in here that I assume are just James or his cybersecurity guy, but we don't really have those rules defined within the city, so I guess it falls under that. I'm not super clear on who falls as far as reliability or responsibility other than James. And so there are a lot of rules defined in here that I think are just James. Am I wrong, or? That's why I'm reading it.
You have to go back to the beginning of the statement. I'm sorry, I was walking back to my chair. I didn't hear it.
Oh, sorry. So you've got 3 or 4 different roles in here, the CIO, ISO, I'm sure there's at least 1 or 2 other ones in here. Either way, I think they're all just referencing James. We don't have any of those roles in the city.
Right.
So they're either James or his cybersecurity guy.
Right.
So.
From his company, yes.
Right. So at the end of the day, we should have someone on the city able to make a decision if they disappear or whatever.
I believe it would be the city administrator's office who's up in that seat
Good enough.
at the moment. Me.
I don't understand. It's like putting the crib together, looking at the instructions, and just put it aside. It's just security, that's all it is, right? I mean.
Yes, it's to keep our network
DC 1, 2, 3.
Well, like David said too,
It's like
as we've had this for a while, we'll kind of come up with more
It's like
specific things, yeah.
This was
Yeah.
a problem, let's go ahead and put something in place here.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, moving on.
I'll make the motion that we accept this policy, the cyber policy, as written.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie to approve the sidewalk policy as written.
I really think we need to amend that to, or the city administrator in there.
All those positions.
Okay, we do have a motion. Do I have a second?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
If we were to amend it, how do we go about doing that? Is that something we have to do in a meeting? Okay. And we could just request that at any time?
Or right now, or right now.
Okay, we do have a motion. Let's move on with the first motion. Okay, do I have a second? Okay, first motion fails. Okay, now you may address.
Make a motion, we accept the policy with the amendment that the city administrator be added to the fourth bullet from the end of the third page after ISO. So port scanning, vulnerability scanning, or penetration testing without authorization from the ISO or city administrator.
Okay. David, are you good with that?
Please, adding David to it.
Okay. So it's just a very, very, very minor revision. Okay. We have a motion from Josh. What he said. Okay. We have basically
the city administrator.
to name the city administrator in that position he's referring to. Okay, we have a second from Flipper. Any further discussion? Okay, Dora, do you have a grip on that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, all in favor? All right, motion passes. Okay. Agenda item 19, consider and act upon the street priority list. Okay. You and me, Dave. Okay,
Sorry.
I'll give you a break. Okay, we got some discouraging news from our county commissioner this week, that essentially all the equipment that will be used by his precinct is basically already scheduled, okay, for the county roads and so forth. And they're already got everything lined up until the end of July. Okay, and so not looking good, okay, for us to have the county help us. And by the way, it wouldn't matter if we'd have done this 6 months ago, because the county is always going to get priority over the equipment. And also, you know, the county shares the equipment. You know, it's so expensive, they only have one, you know, one of this, one of that, and so forth, and 4 precincts share the equipment, and they sign up to get their roads paved. So that being said, you know, street priority list may not do us any good. Pete, did you want to comment?
No, I was just gonna say the same thing Danny told me.
Yeah, so I did talk to Danny. You know, I mentioned, said, well, what options do we maybe have? And he mentioned maybe, you know, going private. He mentioned there's a paving company out of Castroville for one. I didn't get the name because we're going before council. So if we're going to do any resurfacing in the streets, it does not look like we're going to be able to have county participation at this time.
Well, I'm okay with that. After that 1-inch rain event the other day, it's looking at the water coming down the street on Windy Knoll, and it was maybe a half to 3/4 of an inch from coming up the curb. So if we do get another La Nina year as expected, you add 1 inch of pavement to that road, the carrying capacity for that curb and street is dramatically reduced to the point you're very likely going to cause flooding issues. So any of these streets, we continue to add 1 inch at a time, you're reducing the carrying capacity, increasing flooding.
Yeah, I actually asked Danny about that. Okay, he said generally speaking, the process they use would be about 3/4 of an inch. And of course, you know, in his opinion, he didn't feel like it would affect any drainage issues unless you change the grade. That's exactly what he said. So if you got pavement that's 3/4 of an inch already below the curb, okay, the pavement is supposed to be even with the curb. And then the curb takes the water. Just saying. But anyway, I did ask him about it. Sure, I suppose in a perfect world would be great if you scrape 3/4 of an inch off and then put 3/4 back. The equipment that he has to scrape at least 3 inches regardless and get down to the base and everything, so he wouldn't be able to help us with any of that. And of course, if you have streets that do not have curbs, or the asphalt is below, okay, I would say you know, He says you'll probably be safe and have no problem. I'm just passing this on. Okay, I'm not a paving engineer. So anyway, I would suggest perhaps we can check out some other options to see what we might be able to bring to the table to get some street resurfaced. Because it's not looking good with that.
Which streets are we proposing, or do we want to go to bid on all of them? I guess it doesn't hurt.
I thought we had a list already.
Yes, we have it already.
Well, yeah, we had the list from the last meeting.
Yeah, I think right now we might be, just be spinning our wheels until we, as far as the street priority list, until we have something lined up. Yes, ma'am?
Could we ask David to go ahead and send out an RFQ, or?
Of course.
RFP.
Right. That's
For
what I'm
these
saying.
streets that the list that we had from last week, and just see what it is. I mean, I can guarantee you it's gonna be astronomical, but
Might be.
maybe we can get one or two streets done the way we have. Maybe we'll get lucky.
Yeah, I don't even think you need to denote the streets. I think just send out an RFP for paving, or RFQs for paving. Try and get some kind of database, somebody there to talk about with it and so forth. So clearly the cost of materials is probably going to be higher because he was doing it at cost of materials.
Yeah.
The labor and everything was going to be higher because he was doing it at county prices, not contractor prices. But at this point, unless we just delay everything for another year, we'll be back in the same boat. It's not going to hurt to look into it. They're not going to be able to do anything until the end of July. If you get lucky, you might be able to pave a couple roads in August and September.
That'd be awesome, but we can't wait. I mean, really, unless we have to because the
Well, we may
private
not,
paving costs too much. I mean,
Yeah, we may not have a choice.
but we
So,
might as well look at our option.
exactly,
Do you have motion options?
yeah.
Do we have to motion to do that, or do we just say, David, go do it?
Direction to, us to go.
Yeah, you can give direction to the administrator, to proceed.
So we don't need a motion?
Yes?
Yes.
We do need a motion.
Well, you may not, but it's not going to hurt to do it anyway.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion
so-
to have the city administrator go out for RFP for the list of, do I need to name the list?
RFQs. No.
Okay, for the list of streets we spoke about at the last meeting.
I'll just say for paving.
Yeah, the paving.
Paving options.
Well, it was gonna be done by the county.
Right, okay. All right, we have a motion from Debbie to instruct the city administrator to request basically RFQs for paving. Okay? Keep it broad. All right? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Michael. Further discussion?
Have we made any headway with text on that intersection by Ingram? As far as them even responding to
Ingram.
the concrete plant by Lowe's,
Oh,
where the water on puddles left?
Conant Parkway. Oh, by Ingram Ready Mix.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking of
Yeah.
the street and all that. Actually, I don't think we have, but that was something on my punch list, I'll tell you that right now. That half-inch rain or so we got on Saturday morning, I was over there at Food King, and it was amazing how fast that filled up. So, it never used to do that either, that badly, until they did all that.
Once they did the curves.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
they put those curbs in and everything.
but anyway, we have a motion and a second on instructing David, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Agenda item 20, consider and act upon requesting RFQs for the mowing contract for the airport. City Administrator.
Okay, the current mowing contract is up in June of this year. And just requesting permission to go out for proposals for renewal of the contract.
Well, you folks know all about it. It was quite a contention for me last year. Get bids.
Basically, just opening the opportunity for bids and considerations.
Make a motion, we go out for RFPs for non-contract at the airport.
Okay. We have a motion from Josh to request RFQs for the mowing contract for the airport.
I'll second.
A second from Michael. Discussion. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Agenda item 21, consider and act upon change submitted by the Public Utility Commission of Texas, right-of-way access line rates. Phyllis and David or Tom? Tom, it sounds like you're correct.
Okay, council, every year, we're given the opportunity to go up in our franchise fees for our telephone lines when they're in our right of way. And the catch to this is that all of these costs are passed through to the customer. So what you're doing is tonight, if you say we want to increase it from what it currently is, then that increased amount will be passed through to the customer. It will be collected by the telecommunications company from the customer, and then it'll be paid to us. So that's your choice. Leave it the way that it's been for several years, or you can increase it. And that second page shows you on 2024, your residential rates right now are $1.13. Non-residential 115, point to point 115. The residential will increase to 139 if you so choose. And the non-residential is 142, and point to point will be 142. And that will all be collected by the telecommunications company, and then they'll reimburse you, but it'll be charged to the customer.
So is this AT&T's lines or AEP's lines?
AT&T.
Oh.
It's probably soon to be Rise, right?
No, they're underground.
Well, they're
Oh, that's right, they got their own, never mind.
yeah, but they are, we can't even charge those people franchise fees. There was a law that was passed in order to get internet out to the rural areas. We can't charge them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it would be AT&T.
We can't even charge them for a permit.
But they sure can hit our water lines.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to get reimbursed for that.
Do we just, is there even a reason to continue charging these people? I mean, they're not putting in new posts, are they?
I'm sorry?
They're not putting in new poles, are they? AT&T.
AT&T, not to my knowledge, not this time. Most of the time, they have an agreement with AEP to hang their lines on AEP poles.
I guess what is the benefit of us charging them anything at this juncture? Other than maybe a couple $1,000s a year?
Yeah, that's it.
What does our city attorney think we should do?
Well, for years, it hasn't been my decision, but for years, the council has decided to go with the default, the lower rate.
Do a low rate.
All right, I'll make a motion we default with the lower rate.
Okay, we have a motion from Debbie to go with the lower rate. Second. The change submitted by the Public Utility Commission of Texas right-of-way access line rates. We have a second by Flipper. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Agenda item 22, executive session pursuant to section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code, consultation with attorney.
Can we go for a break?
If you wish, you sure can. I don't know, do you think it would be long? Yeah, we might as well. Might as well. And then, do we want to, I guess we should go into the library.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I'll recall that item right now at the moment in 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Okay, we'll take a 5-minute break. Time 8:04. Okay, we are now back from executive session. No action was taken during executive session. My time, 8:54. That brings us to agenda item number 23. Reconvene in the regular session and consider action, if any, on items discussed in executive session.
Mayor, I have a motion.
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed.
Based upon the presentation at the city minutes of the city administrator, city attorney, and Roxanne Babwell of McGuire Water, I move to authorize the city administrator to enter
into a contract with McGuire Water for the repair of the groundwater storage tank at the Bain well, according to the terms presented in the closed session, for the price of $108,340. With the finding of the council that this purchase is required for the health and safety of the citizens of Devine and falls outside the standard competitive bidding requirements. If the groundwater storage tank should fail, the health and safety of the citizens of Devine would be put into jeopardy.
Okay, we have that motion from Debbie. Does it need to be reread, Tom?
No, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second from Michael. Discussion? Okay, all right. All in favor of said motion? Motion carries 5-0. Motion passes. All right. Thank you so much. It's a long way. You live in South Dakota?
Yes, sir. I live in Canyon.
Well, my goodness. All right. That's even better for you, right? Nice put up those cool winters.
It's just a canyon now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item 24, informational items. I have one little tidbit to offer, which is relevant, very relevant today. I spoke with the mayor of Lyle this morning, had a great conversation with him. They just now got finished with Rise Fiber. Okay, they finished all their installation, everything, and they just couldn't be more pleased. Number one, that it's done, but even more so with the performance and everything now that they're hooking people up to their houses. Okay, he's got nothing but compliments on the performance of the service. And then he also went on to talk about, for example, the school kids in particular, the way things are these days, they give them Chromebooks, they go home, a lot of people don't have, quality internet. Now they will. It's going to help their education. And he also mentioned how many people work from home. And he was surprised about how many folks in live told him about it. My job is so much easier that I have high-speed internet now. And he said there was no comparison between this and the previous. Okay, which I think goes without saying to a certain degree, And so I just wanted to pass that on and be a little bit positive about it. It's a pain. It knocked off the water in my business yesterday for 2 hours. Okay, we survived. Okay, we walked across the street. If you had to, and they're 70% complete. Okay, so if we just keep asking for people to be patient and try and deal with it, we can hopefully get there, and then all of a sudden we're going to have great internet. Okay, so and also I've also come to find out that they had the same experience we had with water pipes. Okay, and so did several other towns in our area that have the same thing going on. It just comes with the program, okay? And like, for example, they too have pipes that have been in the ground for 50 or 60 years, right? So anyway, but I had a great conversation with them, and I'm glad I did because I became so much more feeling good about it. We're 70% down, hopefully we'll get there.
Great.
Okay? Anybody else?
The roadway connecting to Walmart continues to degrade. Is there any anticipation of us having an agenda item to discuss metering that to raise funds for it?
Can I speak on that?
Sure.
I spoke with the manager at Walmart, one of the managers at Walmart. They're in the process of remodeling that particular Walmart, and I gave him the proposal that we have to repair that street that's going into Walmart, and he's saying he's going to try to get that put into the equation as far as the price of their remodeling for that location. So that's where we are with that right now. They do have a proposal on what it would cost to get it fixed from the city, and a request for them to fix that street. That's where we are with Walmart's driveway.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, remember this is informational items. Anything else?
Yeah, just as we have community as a startup initiative coming up this Thursday, the 21st at 10:30 a.m. right here at the community center, 10:30 to 12. It is open to the public. The public is welcome to come and attend. And This will be our second meeting. We also have the survey that's out online right now. It's actually out on the city website as well as on city Facebook. We sent out a lot of emails. The survey can be also filled out by your cell phone, and it's available in English and Spanish. Also, April 8th is the eclipse, solar eclipse. The city and the school will be having an event at the school stadium. The school will be closed on that day. Now we are expecting a lot of citizens to come to this area. Obviously, we don't know how many, but we are making plans. We have met with the emergency management coordinator from Medina County last month. We're going to meet again this month before the event. The city will potentially probably have to barricade some streets to ensure that the traffic flow is regulated and people enter and exit through a lighted intersection. Most accidents, reason for that, most accidents are caused by left-hand turns. We have a lot of streets to shoot out into the main highway, and as we know, 173, 132 is a state highway that's highly traveled. So we're trying to mitigate that process, as well as try to regulate the traffic. In the event we have an emergency, the emergency responders can try to navigate around. If you live in those neighborhoods where the streets are barricaded, obviously you can go through to your home, that will not be impeded. We're trying to work with the school, also the school system, to try to mitigate the traffic with the buses. However, we're still working it out. We're going to meet March 27th with the school, fire chief, the city, continue to try to come up with a game plan for the operation, for the event, and it's probably going to expect the people to start coming in on a Thursday, and the actual eclipse is on a Monday. So that's what we're doing with that. I think that's about all I have at the moment.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering how we're doing with Public Works building.
So you asked a question about the water rates. The water rate study is still in progress. I got an estimated time of end of April for its completion. I'm still pushing very hard. I'm in contact with the company. I'm trying to push. The city has submitted all the information, financial-wise and et cetera. Pete's submitted. We submitted everything that we need to submit to the company. So aggressively, nicely trying to push to get the information that we need to make an informed decision, to give y'all to make an informed decision on the water rates moving forward.
On the building, I'm just waiting for the company to get the asbestos. I guess they have to go through permits and all that for the asbestos.
Oh, we had
removal.
asbestos?
Yeah, I'm sorry, lead.
Oh, lead.
Yeah. So they had to remove that. They have to remove that.
Remove it or
that's all
abate
we're
it?
waiting on. Huh?
Remove it or abate it?
Remove it, or
Can you paint over?
Is it the walls or the?
they said it was mainly the window frames on one of the buildings.
That's the ones that would be removed.
Right.
Yeah, we're not keeping.
Right, but for lead paint, you can encapsulate. All you have to do is paint over it with latex paint. Who's trying to run us through the ringer to get some money out of us?
Or was it was asbestos, right?
It's asbestos.
Asbestos, yes. Sorry.
Asbestos.
I'm confused right now, so, yeah.
That's different.
I've been working in long hours.
Yeah.
It happens.
So yeah, that's what I'm waiting on right now.
So that's done.
I've talked to the people that have the building, and they're still looking at it for us. They still have it. They haven't got rid of it.
It's like you guys are never gonna get a new home.
I know. I can't wait myself.
So you don't have to go home.
All right, what else, guys?
That's it.
Anything else?
One little more, I guess for David, is did the 2023 sales tax report come in yet?
You have the 2023 sales tax report? Yes, I did.
Okay, I'll put it on the list.
Okay.
I love that report.
I think that was included in the startup numbers. Was that was 23, I believe. That was included in the startup graphs and things.
That was just an
It
estimate
wasn't?
from that's not the official.
Oh, that's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I guess it did on historical values. Yeah, got it. Okay, what else, guys? Okay, I'll entertain. All right, I have a motion from Clifford to adjourn.
I didn't hear him say that. I'll second.
I'll second. You read my mind. You did it. We got a second from Michael, all in favor. Motion carries 5-0. All right, guys.